What's up, everybody out there? I'm out here doing an oil change. You can see on my Q. Something I do is I do oil changes on the side for friends and family and co-workers of friends and stuff. Just people that say, hey man, if I buy the oil and give you like a $20 bill, will you do my oil change for me because I don't have time? And on my days off, I'll go pick them up from work, bring them to the house, change their oil. I mean, it's just something simple, easy, brake pads, the same thing. I'll do them for people I know. But a lot of times in newer cars, such as Heather's Rogue and the Kia Soul I've been working on, and some other vehicles, take 4.5 quarts, or they'll take 4 quarts or 4.6 or whatever. Or if you put a quart of like Marvel Mystery Oil, Lucas Heavy Duty Oil and Treatment or whatever, you'll have a quart left over out of like a 5-quart jug. So, as I have done several oil changes for like a CX-9, a Kia Soul, a Rogue, blah, 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 yada, 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 I ended up with a half a quart of oil, a quart of oil, whatever. Now, something Steve does, as you can see, is he labels his Buick. There's 3 quarts here. It's Castrol, which is fine and dandy, which is probably what I should have done, but I didn't. So what I did was I had an old jug that of some oil. It was Napa 020. Oh, and I kind of just put it all in one jug. And there's 5 quarts here. That's a full oil change. So this jug is probably some Supertech, probably some Castrol, probably some Valvoline, probably some 020, probably some 520, some 530. I think there's some high mileage in there too. Just kind of a potpourri of different oils. So I'm going to put it in the queue, see how it does. This is not something I recommend, honestly. I normally stick to one brand, one weight. Try not to go back and forth. It is all synthetic, I know that much. Oh, check it out. Cicada. If any of y'all don't know what that is a cicada. Those come out of the ground every like 18 years or so. That's the biggest one I've seen this year. And they make this god-awful ruckus. So that's pretty cool. I hadn't seen one yet this year that big. The rest of them I think have been little guys. But we're gonna put that in the queue. And I'm gonna run a normal oil change on it. I'm gonna check it, see if it uses any, burns any, comes out any dirtier, comes out cleaner, whatever. So this will be the mystery jug oil change. So like I said, this is not something I recommend. I'm pretty faithful to 520 Valvoline or 520 Castrol. Always run synthetic too, but only one way to find out. So as you can see, this is 1, 2, 3, 4, roughly 5 quarts. So what we'll do is we'll put this in the funnel, quart it going in. I've got the drain plug in the bottom. We had a little goof here. Had it on the ramps, put the drain plug, drain pan under it with the drain plug. It slid off because this is a finished floor, slid off the ramp. So what we're going to do is put the oil in it, back it up, change the filter, and then we'll be done with it. But as soon as Steve gets a light to hang here, we'll record putting the oil in. We'll set this guy right there, and 5 quarts of oil. All right, everybody, we got pushed the car back out, got up on the ramp so we can change the filter. Steve's got the old filter, he's cleaned tools up. No leaks. I did check the dipstick here. And we are, I don't know if you all can see that or not, about a half a quart low. So there's a little bit left in the jug. Top that off. Check it again once I get it off the ramps and get it started. And we'll go from there. All right, everybody, we made it back to Lexington. I've actually driven on it a couple of days. I changed the oil on Sunday. It is now Tuesday. And as you can see, it is just a hair. I don't know if you can see it or not. It's right about there. Just a splash low. So I'm gonna put a splash of something in it. Like I said, I don't know what all was in that jug I put in here. It's a little bit of Supertech, a little bit of Valvoline, Castrol. So I'm gonna put a splash of something in here and top it off, and then we'll go 5,000 miles like I normally do. See what happens with our mystery oil change. So we topped it off with Valvoline full synthetic 530 motor oil. There was like 1/4 of a quart left, so I'll let it sit for a little while, check it. That should be like as close as it's gonna get to full. Nothing looked weird, like everything looked fine on the oil. It still looked clean, a little bit thinner than normal, but I don't think that's gonna hurt anything. It is extremely humid out, so that might be why it's thinner. I locked the dang door. Can't put my pliers up. Anybody with a Nissan knows what it's like. Take a oil cap off a Nissan. So it's good to go. Everything is great. We'll check it 1,000 miles or so, see how it's doing. Okay, everybody, this is the follow-up to our mystery oil change. So about a month after I did this, the battery died. Well, at the time when I thought it was battery, so I put a battery in it, and I lost the mileage update. About a month after that, alternator died. Well, the Infiniti dealership put a defective alternator on it because they used a refurbished one, and I fought with them for almost 2 months before they would. I finally had to talk to the service manager, and he said, bring it in, we'll test it. Well, I had already taken it to a Nissan dealership, and they said yes, it's defective, but Infiniti refused to honor a Nissan certified mechanic's estimate of the problem. So finally they said yes, the alternator is defective, put another one on. So I don't know how many miles it's been. I'm gonna have to go back to the footage and figure it out. I'll update it. It has been, I'm sure it's been too many. I'm sure I'm about 7,000 miles since my oil change. Normally I keep all that stuff in the computer, onboard computer, but since I went through 2 batteries and 2 alternators, all that's gone. But I will tell you that I checked the oil, and not only is it super brown and super thin, but it's also a 1/2 quart low. So Steve and I are going to go ahead and change it. So even if it's not up to, let's say you run synthetic oil and filter 10,000 miles, I'm gonna go ahead and change it because it's burning it. It's not leaking it, there's no leaks. It's burning the oil, which means it's probably good to change, and it looks nasty. So we're gonna go ahead and change it and get it back to where it needs to be with the right oil and filter. So Steve's down there draining the oil. We're gonna see how it looks when he gets the pan out. And then we'll start prepping everything else. So I'm going to use another 10,000 mile filter, and we are going to go back to .530, and I'm also going to put a thing of STP oil treatment in it. Okay, so we got the oil out, and it is super thin. It is super black. I mean, it is like, this is probably the thinnest oil I've ever dealt with. I would say that the majority of this oil, like I said, was 020. I know that it all was synthetic, but like I said, there was some Valvoline, there was some Castrol, and I think there was a jug of Supertech in there from the Kia Soul I worked on for a little while. I did this experiment just because I had the oil laying around. This is not an experiment I will ever replicate again. This is just nasty. As you can tell, it's everywhere. Because when it was coming out, it was just kind of like, not just a steady stream, but it was just everywhere because it was so thin. It was just kind of like splattering. I did put back in here, I'm putting a thing of oil treatment in there just to help a little bit, try and get, it's probably help flush the motor a little bit. But, and then we're going to go back to the Castrol 530, which is what it calls for, Syntec 530 oil. It's right there. 5 quarts in my mega funnel. But from now on, whenever I have quarts of oil left over, like that in a jug, I'm going to try and label them what vehicle they come out of, or try and keep, if it's 020, 020, 020, keep it together, because now Mindy's car, I think it takes 020 or 520. So, and I'm probably not going to do as many oil changes for people that Mindy works with or friends, because they just aren't the they're the types that just take their car off and drop it off and get it done, as opposed to having me do it for them for free. Because, you know, I enjoyed doing it. I enjoyed working on cars for friends of friends and friends of ex-wives. So, you know, I just ended up with extra quarts of oil over the time, so I figured why not use it. But from now on, like I said, it's going to be like Steve does, 1 quart for a jug. You know, this, if it's 530 and 530 mixed, that's fine. But like I said, I didn't know what was in here. There's probably some 520, some 020. But the mystery oil change, as far as I know, nothing's wrong with the engine. There's no knocking. There's no nothing. Still running great. Still getting the exact same gas mileage. So now we're going to go back to our 530 and we're going to stick with it. So I'm a big proponent of one type of oil, Castrol, Valvoline, whatever. Stick with it the whole life you've got the car and you won't run into any issues. So this is an experiment I would not recommend you do. I'm not going to do it again. The only way I would run an experiment like this was if it was like an old beater 200,000 mile Camry or something. Then just dump whatever into it because it's going to burn it off. But a newer car like this, or the Z, or Mindy Civic or something, no, I would not recommend this.